Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Sports Betting by Dummies. I'm your host, Patty Parlays, and joining me as always, rocking the Eagles gear, the guy of guys, the expert of experts, the man who hit an NBA parlay last night, Connor. Connor, welcome in.
Thank you. NBA is as easy to bet on as I said from the beginning.
Right,
They're
yeah, yeah, yeah.
predictable. They're predictable.
Uh huh. Sure, 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 sure.
Six leg parlay, got all of them. All but one was betting on the spread.
Yep, yep. And it was a uneventful weekend for us because all of our teams weren't playing this weekend.
Right.
So,
Rough. And then no hockey tonight.
ugh.
I'm dying.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
dying.
rough. It is rough. And I think on Wednesday there's only like 3 hockey games scheduled, and if one of those was Calgary, then there's only going to be 2 on Wednesday. So, maybe a rough couple of days. And joining us as always, the voice of God himself, the Green Goblin, the man, the myth, the legend, Dizz. Dizz, welcome in, buddy.
Hey, thank you, Patty. Juice to be on. Pretty excited for our topic today, to be honest. We're just sitting here reminiscing, aren't we?
Yeah. We're we're throwing it back to the good old days, the days when we were actually good gamblers. So,
Nothing more than I love talking about the past.
yeah, not like looking back at your past successes like I did for that Christian Watford shot on Friday that I got so much slander and hatred for.
Well, I have no comments at this time. All I will say is, everyone who listens to this podcast, I was good at gambling before uh, I started being on this show, I promise.
That's the thing, and I swear, like once you talk about your picks or like put them out in the universe, whether it be on Twitter or with you're talking with friends or whatever, as soon as you like make it public, that's when everything just goes to shit.
Well, actually, this is actually a great point here that I have been thinking about. Is that actually the case, or is it when you talk about it or when you make it public, you actually realize how much shit you lose? Because I think specifically for me, it's like, oh, fuck yeah, I hit this teaser. Did not think about the bets that I lost because I just put them behind me. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like I talked about it on a podcast. I listened to my monotone ass voice talk about a bet that doesn't hit, and it's like, oh, maybe I always sucked this much at gambling.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a fair point. I've been trying to be more along the lines of actually keeping track of all of my bets. It used to be I would just throw out a bunch of bets and I'd hit a couple or whatever, but I'm trying to get better about tracking every single one because that's the important thing.
Yup.
Well, let's get into it. So the topic for today, we didn't really have one. There's not a lot going on across all of sports. So we are going to talk about our, I guess not necessarily our successes, but some great gambling stories that we have. Does that sound right, Diz? Or are you
Yeah,
looking for just success stories?
I was just thinking like maybe top 2 or 3 moments you've had sports gambling, just share the stories because I think what's great about this podcast is just being able to talk about shit like this. I mean, I have some friends that gamble, but hopefully this gets to more eyes, this gets to more ears uh than me just talking to my friends about it. I think it's cool to talk to people about sports gambling. Bet together, win together. So I think we should share together.
All right, well, Diz, if you're ready, if you want to go ahead and lead us off with one story.
This is my favorite one since starting the podcast. 100%. And I don't know if we weren't super into the pod yet or it was the dog days of summer or what, but this went such under the radar. I think it was the first month we did the best bets competition and you were stomping my ass. Connor, I don't think you were on the pod yet.
No.
Uh, it was dog days of summer. I didn't know what to bet on. Pat's betting on like first fives and Patty, it's his Pat's bread and butter, and I'm over
Yep.
here fishing for what to bet on. Field of Dreams game. I'm looking for a heinous prop. Pat's up like 10 units in the best bets competition, so I'm looking for a heinous prop. I take a Tim Anderson home run simply because Pat hit it like the night before. So I'm kind of like pissed off. Like, okay, if he's gonna hit something stupid, I'm gonna get him right back with it. So it was kind of out of spite. And I remember that was like the only baseball game I've watched like the majority of all year. And ninth inning, 2 outs, better story than Field of Dreams movie. I'll say it till the day I die. I think that movie's overrated. But TA Tim Anderson walk-off home run, Field of Dreams game. It was fantastic. Plus 700. And that was a really cool story, really cool moment. But of course, I ended up still losing the best bets competition.
Yeah, man, big Tim Anderson pod. You know, he had a good couple week span there for us, and yeah, never forget it, man. TA7 for life.
Absolutely.
Connor, do you have a story, or do you want me to go?
I can go.
Okay.
So one of the bigger ones was I was still learning prop bets early on in the NFL season, and I told you guys that I took Aaron Jones 2+ touchdowns. I actually took that and the 3+ touchdowns, and the man ended up getting 4 touchdowns that game. And I thought, man, this is so easy. Why doesn't everyone just do Aaron Jones? So I tried that again the next week, not even close. But the first week I was figuring out prop bets, having Aaron Jones get 3 touchdowns, and the fact that I couldn't do 4 kind of upset me.
Yeah. Yep. I do remember that, and that's fantastic. And for a while there, you were the 2 touchdown king.
Yeah, you got Cup on a 2 touchdown like the week before that. Yeah,
You were automatic.
it's over now. I'm doing it again.
Oh, that's awesome. So, a story for me, and this is one where I actually lost, and actually lost quite a bit. But we've talked about it before on this podcast. But this was probably not this football season, but last football season. Diz, is that correct?
College football?
Yep.
Yep.
So this was before I knew what I was doing with sports gambling. You know, I now have methods to my madness. I now know the research, but I just pretty much blindly took 5 heavy money line underdogs in a parlay. The first couple had hit, and then Navy, our glorious Navy, was shout out Navy for beating Army this weekend. It was always Navy.
Let's go.
But I Navy was probably down 24-0. Diz.
What? Oh, you mean yeah. I thought it was 21.
It might have been 21. It was right around there, but nonetheless, Navy was down like 21-0, and it was at halftime. And I told Diz, I said, "Don't worry, Navy's got this. Navy's got this. They're gonna win. My parlay is gonna have a chance. It's gonna be fine." Navy comes back and wins 24-21. So I'm 3 out of 5 legs at this point on heavy moneyline underdogs, and the fourth one is playing, and the fourth one is like winning, and it's coming down to the end of the game, and I have the opportunity to cash out. This was a $1 bet, and I could cash out for, I want to say it was like $1,300.
Yes, it was over 1,000 for sure.
Yeah, and if I would have won, I would have won like 4,000. If all
No,
of
it was like 10, I thought.
Yeah, I think that's right. It would have been like quite a bit more than just the 1,300. And I was like, oh no, this team's got it. It's fine. The game goes into overtime, and before overtime starts, I have the opportunity to cash out for this $1,300. And this was before I realized that dogs go to die in overtime. And unfortunately, the team I was on lost, and so I missed out on $1,300, which would have been my biggest win to date had I just cashed out instead of getting greedy and hoping for that $10,000.
So hard to do though.
Yeah,
I told you not to cash out. That's on me more than anyone else.
but it was electric. That's where the whole bet together, win together started. I texted Diz, and then he told all of his friends, and literally like a bunch of us were just like, "Oh my gosh, this game actually matters. It's a game between two teams that no one cares about, but it actually matters."
Exactly.
Oh, man, it was crazy. Diz, do you have another story for us?
Absolutely. So this is recent. Um, I put $100 on a bet. Um, it was a Florida Panthers New York Rangers over 5.5, which I thought was a lock of the year. But I couldn't watch the game at that point because I was on a date um, with my current girlfriend. It was like one of our first dates. It was her birthday, so I took her out for a
What a
lovely
guy.
dinner,
What
and
a guy.
so stupidly I saw this. Why am I betting on it? Like I saw the game. I saw that we were playing the Rangers, and I'm like, okay, it's probably like 6.5. No, it was 5.5. I was like, I have to take it. And I told her like right before we sat down, I was like, hey, by the way, I'm a degenerate gambler. I bet $100 on this bet. If that's a no go, like I'm just letting you know now. If that's a red flag, and she was like, "That's fine." And I had my ESPN notifications on, and every time it vibrated, we'd both look over at the phone and get juiced up, and it was kind of a little bet together, win together situation. Felt great, and obviously moved forward. We are still together at this point. I know it's only been like a month, but uh, bet together, win together, baby.
That's right. That's right. Awesome. I love it. Now, Connor, I'm pretty sure you have one more story.
Yes.
Yes.
So I was waiting for my first NHL parlay to finish. And this is when I started getting into NHL betting. I was like, oh, I don't even know what to guess early on. Don't know what I'm doing. I am waiting for this Dallas Stars game to finish. I do not recall who they were playing, but it went into overtime and then into a shootout. This is the last leg that I needed for my parlay to hit. And there were already two other shootouts that had won in my favor. So my wife comes home from work, uh, like 11 o'clock. She's like, okay, you ready to go to bed? And I was like, I can't. I'm too amped up. I got to watch the ending to this game. And they were down by 1 goal at the time. So I was losing my mind, hoping they would get this. But I also hedged it earlier when it was tied. So I said, we're either getting like $250 or $400. So off of $1. So go to bed. We get the $400. Stars win. Next day, I go and get fresh salmon for my wife, and now she is all into wanting to know whenever I hit a parlay so that we can go get fresh salmon each time. It's going to be a special occasion whenever we have that. So she's always checking on my parlays.
See, that's
Fantastic.
that's the way to do it. That's what I should have done more. That's smart. That's being strategic.
To
Nice.
share it with the wife.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Give them some of the goods, some of the benefits.
I've had salmon one time since then. That was off of another NHL. Got me like $200 off of $1.
There you go.
Unfortunately, the NBA one wasn't enough to cover.
The salmon cost.
Yeah, because I need to bring my balance to 200, and then anything beyond that, we put back into the bank.
Yep, yep. There you go. Love it, love
So
it.
no salmon in a while.
No salmon in a while. Oh God, for me, it's got to be the. I don't know if it's the only time, but one of the times the Hail Mary parlay hit. So it was probably a week before it hit. I went 9-0-1 on a Hail Mary parlay. So I basically hit a 9 leg instead of a 10 leg, and I still made a ton of money. But I was like, oh man, I was so close. If that one wouldn't have pushed, I could have gotten to 10. And so I was like a little bit down, but I was like on a heater, and I was really excited. And then I actually think it may have been a Friday or Saturday night, and so I was able to stay up late and watch the last legs of the parlay. And there was a hockey game I was on. I think it might have been the Vegas Golden Knights,
Correct.
and they were down by a goal and late in the third quarter. Now, of course, I had hedged, like I do. I'm a big hedger, so I had hedged. I was like, whatever, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm not gonna stay up or watch it. And then my phone buzzed, and I saw it tie. They tied it, and I was like, holy crap, you're telling me there's a chance. And then like less than 30 seconds later, they end up pulling ahead to win in regulation. It didn't even go into overtime. So I couldn't sleep at all that night because I was so juiced because I hit that the Hail Mary parlay of the day. And so
Patty,
yeah,
can I tell my perspective on that story?
absolutely. You were a part of it. Again, it's big bet together, win together podcast. Anytime something big is happening, I let my boys know.
So I will say, Patty has these parlays almost every single day. So whenever he's like half of them have hit, he reaches out. So like about one out of every 100 times that Patty texts me here is when it's like, oh, okay, this actually might hit. I'm like driving to Columbus, Ohio for the Memorial Golf Tournament. And
Yeah.
so like I'm driving, I'm obviously not going to text back. And Patty calls me and I'm like, oh shit. Like I was thinking it was like a bet text or something. Is something wrong? Like, is it a family emergency or something? And he's like, bro, I'm about to hit. And I was like, all right, like for real. Well, what's going on? Like, how many do you have left? He's like, I got 2 left. What was it? 1 to win 900 or something?
Yes.
So 900 to 1. He has 2 left. And then it was actually dope because I was getting tired as hell on my drive, like on Interstate 70 East for like 200 miles. I'm about to fall asleep behind the wheel. And then me and Patty talked out like our hedging strategies and like the optimal payout for him. I think even after you hedge, you still netted like 750. Is that right?
Oh yeah, I still made a good chunk of change.
And I remember I put the game on when I got to the hotel on like ESPN Plus on my phone, and like I fell asleep before it came back from commercial. I was so fucking tired, and I remember waking up early the next morning to like 4 texts from Patty, and I'm like, okay, this is either heartbreak or we're raging, and fortunately, we were raging, so
It
that was
was
dope.
it was awesome, and yeah, it's even better that like you could. It always happens whenever Diz can't respond or be around. That good things happen on the bets.
Now it's kind of like, yeah, exactly. Now it's kind of like bad juju if I reply. Like I almost need you to text me 3 times before it's like, okay, Pat, this isn't gonna hit if I reply, so I need to just ghost you.
Yeah,
And then you call me, and then it's like, okay, here we go, we're live.
there you go. Yep. All right, that's all my stories. You guys have anything else?
Um, one of the very first podcasts I talked about how when gambling was illegal and I was doing it in college.
Yep.
This isn't a good story.
I think it's a fantastic story.
I hit, well, it's not positive. I hit a huge Australian Open parlay. I used to be really good at betting Grand Slam tennis. Once this podcast started, I sucked ass, but Grand Slam tennis was my most profitable betting. And when you're on a legal site, I was on Bovada. It was like the most popular site at the time. You couldn't withdraw until your account was over $100, and it was like the first time my account had ever gotten over 100. I was like, I'm withdrawing it all. I'm gonna like spend it all in one night, like go out to the bars or something. And of course, it's from Bovada, which is a offshore gambling site. I got a check from the Republic of Korea. I don't know if it was a fake check or if Chase just denied a check from Korea, but it bounced. And then of course, like I got a letter in the mail from Chase to my parents' address because I still technically lived at home. And of course, my parents were like, "Did you get a check from Korea?" And it was a whole ordeal. Fortunately, gambling became legal like 2 months later, so it wasn't a big deal. But that was a waste of money, but pretty funny story nonetheless.
It is a fantastic story.
So let's stick to FanDuel or DraftKings or
Yeah.
whatever you use that's legal, where you can withdraw at any point and it just goes to your bank account, as opposed to getting a check from the Republic of Korea.
So it's crazy that you say that too, because there's actually like only a handful of states that has gambling legal. I think probably like 20 or so states has legalized gambling right now. And I still see people on Twitter all the time from states where it's not legal posting their bet slips or their bets from a non-legal offshore gambling service. So it is still prevalent. There's still people using Bovada and other things like that, Diz. So don't think you're alone still, even to this day, even though it's been legal here for like years now. It's like there's
I
still
know.
people still doing that.
I honestly feel bad. I mean, like, it's almost to a point where it's. I don't want to compare it to the prohibition because it doesn't come close. But at a certain point, like, sports gambling is so popular in the states that are legal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, illegal shit has to be going on in the other states. I'm not ashamed to admit that. Like, I think there was a DraftKings promo in Colorado, and I just had like our cousin that lived in Colorado. Shout out Ty. He logged into my account for me.
Yep.
And like it was like one of those bets where like if someone gets over half a yard, you get the bet or whatever.
Yep.
So I've done that before. Like you got to imagine that's going to happen. You got to imagine like the illegal sports books are going to happen. Like it just blows my mind that it's not legal yet, and the amount of money that it brings in. I don't know how it's not a win-win, but hey, T's and P's to those folks that can't gamble legally yet. But if you want me to log into your account and place bets for you because I'm in the great state of Indiana, just let me know.
Corey might hit you up, Diz. You.
Well, that bastard moved to North Carolina without saying anything. He damn near Irish goodbye'd out of my life, so he's gonna need an apology first.
There you go. There you go. All right,
Bastard.
Connor, you have any other stories?
Yeah, one last one. Our 100th episode, we bet together and won big together.
Right.
We will forever be thankful for the Sabres and the over 5.5. So $100 bet, 100 piece, we all agreed on, we all took, and it hit for all three of us. Hope that others did the same and for the celebration and that we could all share that.
Hell yeah.
Bet together, win together, baby.
Next is 200.
Oh, Jesus. I'm going to have to start preparing my bankroll right now.
Yeah.
Diz, anything else from you?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, that's story time with the boys there. That was a nice little throwback.
More
there.
stories in the future. Oh, no, my bad. Did I cut out for a bit?
No, you're good. We heard you.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, this was fun. But I say we get on with it. Maybe do this every couple episodes or so. Maybe down the line a little bit.
As needed, as more stories show up, and also, like, if we don't have a topic or anything to talk about, it's always nice to kind of reminisce.
Absolutely.
If there's a slow sports day or something like this. All right, boys. Let's talk about the Dumbest Dummy Competition bets. Your boy went 0-3 yet again. Still positive. Still about 7 units. I don't have the exact numbers, but Diz, how did you do for your Dumbest Dummy picks?
I am 1-1. My teaser is pending because my last leg of the teaser was the Rams plus 7.5 against the Cardinals, which I'm getting real nervous about because this line is shifting in a way that I don't like to see.
So did you hear all the stuff that came out?
Oh, Christ. Is it like within today?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Tyler Higbee's out.
No.
Jalen Ramsey's out.
Shit.
I believe Darrell Henderson's also out for the Rams. I don't know that he's all that important with Sony Michel back there, but basically the Rams are fighting COVID and all kinds of stuff, and the Cardinals are getting fully healthy. So Godspeed on that one, Diz.
Well, plus 7.5. If that hits, it's plus 150, and then of course anchors away Navy money line hit. My underdog parlay of the Washington football team and the Bengals did not hit, but boy, were those some fun games to watch down the stretch. So not upset with any of those. We're going to be plus units either way, but really hoping this teaser hits. I'm getting nervous about the Rams tonight.
Yep. And then Connor, how did you do?
2-4. Overall down 2.107 units.
Okay.
And Football Friday, I am highly upset with those Bengals that we all agreed could have won. Went into overtime. I was like, this is going to hit.
Yeah.
If it did, then I'd be looking at tonight's game for my Football Friday to hit. Be up on both of you. But nope. Unfortunately not.
Were you guys watching this game down the stretch?
No.
No.
There were 3 Amazon Next Gen stats that came up.
Oh, jeez.
Bengals got I took them. I got 7-1 odds. Late in the fourth quarter, the Bengals had to make a stop and go down and score, which they did. But I got them at 6-1 odds when Amazon Next Gen stats were 20%. And then they took it to overtime, or the Robbie Gold field goal miss. That was electric. All my roommates took it with me. Bet together, win together. So we were juiced up, and then they lost a heartbreaker in overtime. But yeah, still think it was a great bet.
Yeah, absolutely. It was rough, but
Who's going to win the AFC North? Is that the grossest division of all time?
so
Because they're not all dog shit, but it's better than the NFC East, I would think, but they're all like not good enough to be playoff teams, but none of them are bad, I would say. Ravens might be bad now, but they have the best record.
so they talked about it on Hammer Don today, but all those teams are within one game of each other with 4 games left. So the current odds for the AFC North: Ravens plus 165, Browns plus 180, Bengals plus 230, and Steelers plus 1,000. And these are all within one game of each other.
Why? Or it's got to be schedule based, right?
I guess. I don't know.
Who does Pittsburgh play? Plus 1,000.
See if I can find that real quick.
Do you think the tie helps them or hurts them at this point?
Good
Has to hurt them because they played the Lions when they lost.
Steelers have Titans, Chiefs, Browns, and Ravens.
That is why they're plus 1,000. Who do the Bengals have? Let me see if I can find it.
They have the Broncos, the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Browns.
Holy.
So basically like the same.
Yeah, the same exact schedule.
Just swap out the Broncos with who? The Titans?
Yeah.
And you probably want to know the Browns. Browns have Raiders, Packers, Steelers, Bengals. And the Ravens have Packers, Bengals, Rams, and Steelers.
So basically, they all have pretty similar schedules going forward. So who do you think can win the most of those games?
I'm still high on the Bengals. Tough schedule left, but I think if they can find a way to go 3-1, I don't think the Ravens are going to win 2 more games with how beat up they are. And I just think Baker Mayfield's bad at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye on, that AFC North. And if you even have a thought that the Steelers have a chance to win that division, you might want to sprinkle it now at plus 1,000.
Riding with the Browns. I did at the beginning of the season, before the season started. Got to stick with them.
That's what's making me lean towards the Steelers. Is I took the Steelers at the beginning of the season and I got laughed at, and now they have a chance. And I don't know. We'll see. We will see. All right, boys, let's get into the dumbest dummy picks for tonight. For the record, Dizz, I don't know what our standings are in that. We will update that on Thursday. So my first dumbest dummy bet, and I believe Connor's also on this, Steph Curry to make 7+ threes versus the Pacers tonight. Now, you may be asking yourself, why 7+ threes? Because if he hits 7+ threes, then he breaks the all-time record for three-pointers made of all time. And the Pacers aren't very good.
No shit.
The Pacers, I think, very easily could lose by 20 tonight, and Steph could hit 10 threes and break the record tonight. I know a lot of people are thinking he will wait and only will want to hit the 3 record while he's at Madison Square Garden in his next game. But I honestly think it happens tonight in Gainbridge Fieldhouse for the Pacers. I don't know if they call it this, but the place that Reggie built is what I would call it. So
is this boosted?
It is.
You take the boost?
Plus 170.
Hell yeah. I'm riding with you. I'm not going to make it a dummy pick. That's just swipe or no swiping, but uh, I do like that bet a lot.
Yeah. All right, my next one is another boost. I'm going Chris Paul to record a double double and the Suns to win versus the Clippers. That's boosted to plus 300. Um, the one thing that kind of concerns me about this now, and I looked further into this, Connor, and this the one thing that concerns me is Devin Booker is out for the Suns. So the Suns haven't been as good of late when he's been out. However, it looks like Paul George and Kawhi Leonard will be out for the Clippers. And so,
Mm.
if that's the case, then I don't feel as bad about this one. Chris Paul has hit double digit points in 9 of his last 10 games and hit double digit assists in 7 of his last 10. So, I do like that boost there. And then my final bet here is a game special for tonight's NFL game. It is James Conner and Cooper Kupp to score 2+ touchdowns each at plus 2,400. Connor mentioned this earlier. Cooper Kupp was his 2 touchdown go-to guy earlier on in the season. And then tonight, the Cardinals announced that Edmonds is out. I forget what his first name is, but that means James Conner is going to be the main running back. And if the Cardinals get the ball down close, I think they'll give the ball to James Conner and let him finish us off. And at plus 2,400, that's tremendous odds. And I got to give a shout out to this guy on Twitter. His Twitter handle is at J2110_. He has had a tremendous weekend. He got a couple games last night where he got these 2+ touchdown scores. He got 2 of them in the same game. And so I'm kind of riding with him on this one. And make sure you give him a follow on Twitter if you are looking for some long shot gambling that actually hits. I'd argue I'm long shot gambling that usually doesn't hit. He seems like long shot gambling that actually does hit. So, and he always gives his picks out for free, so we know we appreciate that as well. So that is what I got for my dumbest dummy picks. Connor, what are your dumbest dummy picks for tonight?
I also have the Steph Curry, as I mentioned with you, and the Chris Paul double-double. Then I took the NFL boost for Hopkins and Kupp to each get 1 touchdown at least.
Mm-hmm.
It's at 500.
Yep.
And I'm taking, outside of the Chris Paul double-double, I'm taking the Suns -3, the Warriors -4.5. And then tonight I'm taking the Cardinals -2. It was my last Football Friday, so I'm going to ride with that one for my last pick. So all 3 of those are at -110.
Nice. Love it. Dizz, what do you got for us?
I only have one. It is a same game parlay of the game tonight. This is actually Colin Cowherd's boosted same game parlay. Cardinals -1.5, over 51.5, and Hopkins 60+ receiving yards. That's at plus 416. So not only one wager, but also need the Rams at plus 7.5. Then we get about 6 units back on the field. So didn't really have a lot going on, and don't know enough about the NBA to make a dummy pick. But I just have one. It's that same game parlay.
Right on. Love it. Group best bets. This is going to be tough because there's not a lot going on tonight. But as a group, we went 2-2 because Diz is for sure like, hey, if you're taking the Sabres Red Wings over, then you got to take the Panthers over, and then the Panthers over was the one that didn't hit.
Red Wings Avs.
Oh, sorry, Red Wings Avs. Okay. But anyways, we went 2-2 because we did have Navy plus the 7.5, and then the Bengals one was another one that lost for us. So kind of an up and down weekend for us for best bets. I'll get you guys updated on where we're at. We're still positive money. I know for sure we are, but I don't know exactly where we're at there. So for tonight's dumbest dummy best bets, how do we feel about Cardinals -2.5?
I mean, it's one of my bets, so
It's -130 right now.
I'm on board with it.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
How do we feel about the Golden State Warriors -4, -4.5, wherever that's at?
I think I'm
that's
all right
another
with
one
it.
of mine.
Okay, and then here's a flyer for you guys. How do we feel about DeAndre Hopkins anytime touchdown at plus 110?
Plus 110.
For D Hop anytime touchdown.
I think it'll happen.
Or would we
I'm
rather?
surprised the value's not a little bit better, but at the same time, if it's within the best bets range, then I'm okay with it.
So here, let me pose it this way then. Would you rather do Cooper Cup at minus 110 or would you do D Hop at plus 110?
I think the Rams usually go with the hot hand. Is more in?
Rondale Moore for the Arizona? Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. What about Rams? Who's in for them? Is anyone out?
Cup,
Woods is out,
OBJ.
right?
Yep. Yep, Cup, OBJ, Van Jefferson, our boy Van Jefferson.
Ooh.
But for the Rams, I'll tell you who's out is Henderson and Tyler Higbee. So the Rams may have less options.
Yeah. They might be bottling up Cup all night.
Yeah.
That's my only concern. The Cardinals have way more weapons and spread it around.
Or we can go to something else. If we don't, I was just floating that out there. We can go elsewhere.
I'm on board with it.
Which one? D
I
Hop?
just D Hop, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So there's our group best bets. Now let's move on to the Hail Mary parlay of the day. Yes, I do have one. No, there's not a lot of value because there's only 10 games that I really felt comfortable betting on tonight. So I got 9 in the NBA. I've got 1 on the football field, of course. And it is $1 to, well, do you guys want to guess before I give it out? This is like typical old school Hail Mary parlay of the day. 10 legs, less than 130, minus 130 or less value.
704.
Okay.
480.
This was very close. It is $1 to win $626.72. So well done, Diz. That was very close.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll start with the 9 in the NBA. I got the Cleveland Cavaliers minus 5.5 versus the Heat. I got the Kings Raptors under 221.5. Got the Golden State Warriors minus 4 versus the Pacers. The Houston Rockets plus 10.5 versus the Hawks. The Bucks minus 1 versus the Celtics. The 76ers minus 4.5 versus the Grizzlies. The Hornets plus 3 versus the Mavericks. The Nuggets minus 3.5 versus the Wizards, and then Suns minus 3 versus the Clippers. And then the one NFL one, I have the Cardinals minus 2.5 versus the Rams. Which one did you say was gross, Connor?
-1.
Oh, yeah. Probably should have done money line there, but hey, you can't really tie in the NBA, so. But so I literally threw that together like 2 minutes before the pod started, so
Okay.
Times were tough, Connor. I had to make rush decisions.
Okay.
I have a feeling I know which ones you differ from on those picks.
I don't know.
You definitely took the Hawks minus 10.5.
I did not.
Really? Okay.
I can read off who I took.
I would be curious for the NBA who you took.
So, wish I could back out of this first one, but it's in my parlay already. And cash out is 32 cents right now, so that's not happening. I took Miami Heat plus 4.5. That one's going to be a heartbreaker. Raptors -5.
Okay.
Different on that. Warriors -4.5. I got the Rockets at plus 11.5.
Okay.
Took the Bucks money line.
Mm-hmm.
76ers minus 2.5. I'm sorry, I'm fading the Grizzlies. I feel bad. Mavericks minus 3.5. Nuggets minus 4, and Suns minus 3.
Okay, so we actually don't differ all that much. You said we differed on the Raptors game. Well, I took the under in that game, so it's not really comparing.
Very different.
Yeah, it's not like I took the Kings. We're in Fade King season, so.
They've been in the Fade King season on both the ice and the court.
Oh, that's funny. All right, gentlemen, anything you guys need to get off your chest before we call it a day?
Eagles are going to be starting Hurts against the Washington football team. You'll see my mood change dramatically if that changes. Not too thrilled about it. I understand where they're going with this, but I think the season's still alive for the Eagles. And it's just highly upsetting to see that we're not going to be going with Minshew for the rest of the season. Possibly for the rest of the season.
It's unfortunate. And also, speaking of that, so what's the line on that game right now, Connor? It's, hang on, let me see. So it is Washington football team plus 5.5 right now. If you like that game, I would suggest taking that right now because I think that will move towards the football team. So that might get down to like plus 3, and that's when you get in that danger zone. So if you like the Washington football team, Dizz, you might want to look at taking them plus 5.5 right now.
Oh, yeah.
And then another one that I heard about, and this has already moved a little bit, but the Chiefs and Chargers. The Chiefs are minus 4. They were at minus 3.5 earlier. It's on Thursday night. Eckler is probably not playing. Keenan Allen still has COVID, so he's probably not playing. And we know the Chargers, they just beat the Giants, but they almost got backdoor covered by the Giants. And the Chiefs just dog-walked the Raiders. I think this Chiefs team is starting to look like the Chiefs team we all thought they would be. Their defense has been playing phenomenal. And I think that this is a game where a lot of people will be on the Chargers, but I think the Chiefs might win by 10 points. So if you like the Chiefs, you might want to jump on them now. If you like the Washington football team, you might want to jump on them now.
Love it. Good call.
I'm actually taking the Washington money line. Eagles lost to the Giants.
just as a reminder.
Upset.
Okay.
Eagles lost to the Giants with Hurts at the helm.
Oh, man. You should have made that a dumbest dummy pick. You want to lock that in right now?
I mean, it's all the way to what?
Plus
Sunday?
184 right now if you want the Washington football team money line. It's probably the best value you're going to get.
But that's Sunday. Shouldn't I save that for...
Hey, I am giving you this once-in-a-lifetime deal. I'm going to sound like a salesman here. You know,
I'm taking the bet, but
No,
shouldn't I save saying it for Thursday or Friday?
So here's what we can do. If you want to take it now and lock in that value, that's fine. You can wait to tell us until Sunday. But you can say, hey, I got this bet on Monday when it was at plus 184. So we will allow that. You don't have to tell us right now that you're taking it. But if you want to lock it in right now for that value, we take Dumbest Dummy picks at the value that you got it on.
Okay, I'm waiting on the Minshew news. Hopefully come through. I'll be living on a prayer.
Yeah.
That'll be me all week, hoping Minshew is going to start for the Eagles.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Dizz, anything from you? Injured again.
Oh, the air quotes. If you're not watching on YouTube, you won't have noticed the air quotes there.
Yeah, he really thought he was starting last week. Something tells me someone made a last minute decision and said, "Hey, we're going to use this as our excuse. Have you not play because you're a dumpster fire? You give that ball some airtime."
Okay.
He's a phenomenal runner.
Yeah.
He knows when to run. He knows his routes. Do not let him throw that freaking ball.
I still go back to it. Why don't you have a 2 quarterback set?
Because you said it. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks.
I know. I did say that, but I just think of all like the possibilities or like the crazy things that could happen if you had one quarterback that was mainly a runner, one quarterback that was mainly a passer, but then you even mixed in like, hey, this guy never throws the ball. If he gets the snap or whatever, then he's not going to throw it, but then he throws like a deep ball touchdown pass, right?
When we had Michael Vick with Donovan McNabb, I really wanted that to happen. See more Michael Vick in
Yeah.
action, but all we got was like a handful of Wildcats.
Right. And then when he's in the game, you're like, okay, well, we know what's coming, right? Like you can't be as sneaky if you don't have like both of the quarterbacks out there at the same time. And like
Right.
the plays when you have like a quarterback lining up at wide receiver, like he's not going to do anything over there. Like you're going to have like a linebacker or someone over there to guard him, but you're not going to throw like a fade route to a quarterback over there.
Nick Foles, Philly special.
But that wasn't. Did he line up at wide receiver on that?
Technically, yes. He went off to the side,
Okay.
went over to the right tackle, was standing behind him, and just stood up, acting like he wasn't doing anything, and then took off. So
Okay.
he never received the ball at all.
Okay. Okay. It's fair. I stand corrected.
Really
But-
special. Eagles fans will never forget that.
Right. Yeah. Okay. But Diz, anything from you?
Just have to pat myself on the back. I'm gonna beat you in fantasy, and I never beat you in fantasy, and neither of us are gonna make the playoffs. But just wanted to hype myself up there.
It's been such a weird year for fantasy football. Like I'm not making this is the first time in like ever I can remember where I'm not making any playoffs in fantasy football. And the weird thing is like, you know, if you have like the worst team in the league and you know you're not going to make it, you're like, okay, I just had a bad year or whatever. But I'm not in like last place as far as points scored in any of my leagues. Like there's weeks when my team will put up like 180 to 200 points, but then I'll lose to teams that like I should never lose to, and it's just been so crazy this year. I don't feel like there's been any like standout stars in fantasy that have just like, you know, you could have called at the beginning of the year like you knew would lead you to a championship, right?
Jonathan Taylor, baby.
Jonathan Taylor would be one exception, yes. But like Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, I don't know who else. Derrick Henry, he's out. I mean, it's been, and then I have Josh Allen in every single one of my fantasy leagues, and I'm not making the playoffs.
Oof.
And then I even have Patrick Mahomes as my second quarterback in a couple of my leagues, and I'm not making the playoffs. I think it's just been a weird year fantasy wise, and I don't like it. Also, Diz, in our league, I beat Rankle twice, and Rankle's going to win the league.
That is correct.
So
That is correct.
that just kind of shows you what kind of a league and year we're dealing with.
Yep.
Some BS. All right. Well, thank you all for listening. Make sure you check us out on Twitter and Instagram at SportsBetByDumb. Also, make sure you check us out on YouTube. You can see our beautiful faces. You can see this live, or you can even watch it back if you'd rather just watch instead of listen. Search for Sports Betting by Dummies on YouTube and filter by channel, and you should see us. Look for the black and yellow logo. But thank you all for listening. Hope you have a nice not long. We don't want a long week. Hope you have a nice, profitable start to your week, and we will see you all on Thursday.